Dr. Sumit Surabh Srivastava. Yes, he is going to present a paper titled Understanding Gendered Sanitation Vulnerabilities in India. Sumit, Dr. Sumit. Okay.
Respected Dr. Bindeshwar Pathakji, Professor Neil Ratan, Professor Anil Waghela, and respected Dais. I, Sumit, would like to present my thoughts exclusively on what are the gendered needs and priorities with special reference to sanitation facilities in India. Before I move on, I would like to comment that building upon what Dr. Sivan said about social determinants of sanitation and elaborating upon what Dr. Vinay Rajat said on what are the social bearings of sanitation vis-a-vis society and culture with reference to, again, India, and supplementing and complementing what just now Professor Asik Saxena said about caste and sanitation, how the social determinant of gender interacts with sanitation. Now there are three, I think there not less than three issues which are involved, and not in the order of preference I would like to comment on it. The first issue is the affordability, availability and accessibility of sanitation services, primarily in terms of toilets for women. Now when I say gender vulnerability, I would like to elaborate that within gender we take women as a homogeneous category, but within women as a homogeneous category we would like to focus on young adolescent girls, women of different ages. Now this is one thing. Now commenting on this, I would like to further note that the sanitation needs of women and girls are different from those of men and boys because of the former's requirement of personal safety, dignity and menstrual hygiene. There is also the issue of disproportionate burden of unpaid labor in managing household sanitary needs. Now, if we build upon it once more, then we come to the understanding that the affordability, accessibility and availability of toilets, either in the rural areas or in the urban areas, have three important consequences on women. The first, the material reality for many women and girls that they do not have access to a toilet. Second, the risk of venturing out for open defecation if there is no toilet. And third, having access to a public toilet, but one that is unusable, that is to say filthy, or unsafe, that is to say insufficient lighting or broken doors, etc. So if we combine these two arguments and posit it vis-a-vis gender, then we come across a very interesting terminology which has been used by Diana Spears and Coffey, which came out recently, where India goes. Toilet, open defecation, caste, and the price of stunted growth in India. It came out in the previous year, and wherein the authors have spoken about quote-unquote prisoners of daylight. Now, what happens in a common parlance or day-to-day parlance is that we often speak of prisoners of darkness or prisoners of, say, where there is no light. But paradoxically, in the terms of when we speak about women, then we come across prisoners of daylight. It means that women cannot, or they are unable to move out of their households to go for, to answer the nature call if there is a daylight. Now what happens gradually when the daylight turns into evening and night, then only they become quote unquote free to answer to the nature's call. Now what has happened here is, in this prisoners of daylight paradox, is that they tend to alter. When I say then, it means young girls, adolescents, women of all age, they tend to alter their biological priorities in such a way that it on one hand hampers their biological, biophysical, medical health of their body in a very significant manner. During the daytime, they will consume less water so that they do not have to frequently use the toilet facilities, and it is only in the night they venture out. Now there are again two issues involved. One is the health issue, which results into many diseases and many digestion related issues which are the directly byproduct of consuming less water. And the second one is again a broad framework of violence against women, which results into molestation, attempt to rape, or other indignities which women suffer. Now, these are some of the general observations which come out when we speak of women and sanitation or gendered vulnerabilities of sanitation services with special reference to India. Now, if we look into, again, there are two different sets of women I would be like to focusing on. The first one is the rural women and the second one is the urban poor women. Now, if we look into the issues of urban poor women, again, we find that lack of proper hygiene or safe community toilets are one issue or a set of variables which affect their day-to-day life. Now, what they tend to do, it comes out in various empirical studies that often they go in a group. Often they would like to have someone guarding from them while they are relieving themselves. And that leads to a quote unquote, a sense of embarrassment, a sense of humiliation, and a sense of insecurity which they consume and then which they imbibe in their own persona. At the end of the day, what we find is that the affordability, availability, and accessibility of sanitation services, primarily in terms of clean, hygienic, safe, and nearby toilet services, is a very fundamental requirement or need of women, and that again is it affects their not only their longevity or in terms of their health needs, but also impinges upon their right to decency, privacy, and dignity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sumit, for your paper. Dr. Sumit has, yeah. Okay. He has highlighted the various problems encountered by women, particularly women. Different issues he has emphasized here. And ultimately, what he says is women are the worst sufferers as far as sanitation is concerned in India.